Today I'm going to talk about trends, pieces, and aesthetics that I think are going to be very popular this winter. I also want to mention quickly, I've realized a lot of people don't like when I use the word trend or trendy. I think mainly because they associate it with micro trends or not having a personal style and just following what's popular without having your own identity, which is very valid. I feel like it's been a very big theme of 2025, maybe to a fault sometimes, of finding your own individuality, finding your own personal style to the point where it feels like it's almost a competition of who's gonna be the most niche and interesting person in the room. However, the trend cycle and what I'm gonna talk about in this video is something that's always been happening, whether it was in the 1960s or even in the 1800s. And we don't think of these people as sheeps that didn't have a sense of personal style and were just copying each other. Everybody was wearing a certain color, a certain pattern, and they were things that were in style. So obviously people incorporated it into their own style, but it's very normal, almost expected, and it would be weird if people didn't look like the era they're living in, unless you have a very specific niche aesthetic that you've been creating your whole life. Like, I'm thinking about the Green Lady in New York. Obviously she doesn't look like she's living in any particular time because she has such a specific aesthetic, but most people, even people that have a very strong personal style, are gonna have elements in their wardrobe, are gonna be influenced by what's currently in style, what's happening in the world, and it's gonna be reflected in their style. And personally, I love looking at how I styled my pieces depending on the year. I might style it different in 2016 that I did in 2020 because the fashion was different. That also doesn't mean that you have to follow every single thing you know is trending or you know is popular. This is more a picture, a snapshot of the current fashion landscape. So the first thing that I think is going to be very popular this winter is the color purple. It's a color that has been very popular this year. I feel like it made a big comeback, and it was especially popular in fall, which makes sense. Fall always brings some kind of burgundy red shade, but in the recent years we saw a lot of dark cherry, a lot of even bright peanut red, and I feel like this year it was way more towards the purple hues, so like a deep witchy purple color, or even like a mauve, a lilac, something that has a more bluey tint, and something that's just a little bit darker and a little less warm. And so as a result, we're gonna see more purple in winter, lighter shades of purple. Winter always brings softer hues and just colors that are more muted and light in color. Another color that I think we're gonna see a lot is baby blue. It was already very present on the 2025 fall winter runways, and the last fashion week for the 2026 spring summer collections, it was still very present. So I think it's a color that's here to stay. We've seen it a lot this year paired with burgundy, with like a deep chocolate brown, and I think this winter we're gonna see it paired with a cream or like a very stark white, or even like a baby pink for a soft romantic kind of winter look. I've also seen a big resurgence of 1920s imageries and a love for Art Deco in general. I've seen specifically this kind of boudoir flapper-esque aesthetic where there's a lot of feathers, embellishments, a lot of theatricality, like a very glamorous feminine kind of aesthetic. I can see it manifest through a lot of lingerie, dresses, a lot of satin, a lot of embellishments everywhere, pearls, even the use of feathers or a feathery fur. On the topic of fur, we're also gonna see a lot of fur on accessories like bags, on shoes, on belts, on scarves. We're also gonna see a lot of fur coats, either in this super fluffy fur that we've been seeing, or with fur on the collar and the cuff. The bottom line is that there's gonna be a lot of fur in 2025 and also 2026. This year I spoke a little bit about the fact that the fashion industry is gonna move away from vegan materials or faux fur and bring back real animal fur in a very big way. This could be its own video in itself because it's the result of a bigger cultural shift. There's a lot lot that plays into it. So yeah, in general, be prepared to see a lot more fur on the runway, a lot more fur on people in their everyday lives. This fall, we've also seen the rise of this grungy kind of gothic aesthetic. There was a lot of agier makeup looks with the bleach brows and this kind of messy, undone aesthetic. And so now moving into winter, I think we're gonna see this aesthetic be a softer version of it, a little bit more romantic, especially as the holidays approaches. Another thing that started getting traction last year and that is gonna be even bigger this year is the use of fun socks, tights, just more intricate hosiery and ways to style them. I've seen a lot of people styling their heels with fuzzy socks or sheer socks or pastel colored tights, or even people doing like a cutout in the leg warmer so that the heel is in the leg warmer. I'll insert a picture because it's a bit hard to explain. I think this is a very fun way to accessorize your shoes. In terms of outerwear, this year was the year of shorter to medium length coats with a lot of pea coats, a lot of trench coats that were on the shorter side. And I think this winter is gonna be no different. We're gonna see a lot of shorter coats, some baby doll coats, a lot of jackets that are technically lighter jackets, just jackets that are a bit less bulky. I think we're still gonna see puffers, but less of those big, like oversized streetwear puffers and something more sleek and feminine that is more tailored to the body. I'm thinking of those 80s, 90s ski resorts kind of puffers. We're also gonna see, like I said, a lot of fur coats when it comes to bottoms like skirts and shorts and dresses. We're also gonna see a lot of mini versions, so like mini shorts, mini skirts, mini dresses. For shorts, I'm thinking of a thicker fabric shorts, like a knitwear kind of material worn with tights and some boots or some heels. And for dresses, I'm thinking of really long sweaters that act as dresses. I think we're going to see a lot more thick knitwear in general. For shoes this year, we've seen the big comeback of the wedges. So naturally, with the colder months approaching, we're gonna see wedge boots or even wedge sandals worn with thick socks. I don't really see the Isabelle Marant wedges being very popular, at least not in the mainstream way. They're definitely an acquired taste, but I can see wedged boots with a bigger platform, even like a very big chunky platform, kind of like a Brad's shoe, being more wearable and something that's more mainstream. That's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed our time together. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.